happening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I know we said we wouldn't do a video for a bit, but I have my 2-year review on my Aventon Pace 500. I figured I'd share it with you. I just got back from about a 17-mile ride. I used about 65% of the battery life. So let's talk about this bike in particular. I've done some reviews on it before, but now I've owned it for 2 years. I've got a little over 1,000 miles on the bike, so I'm pretty familiar with it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, when I went back and watched my old video, I realized I said the word bike like 1,000 times, so I'm gonna try not to do that this time. And just give you a couple of the highlights and maybe a couple of things I wish were a little different. So let's hit on the highlights first on this. On the Aventon Pace 500, it is an amazing e-bike. Great range, good speed, very comfortable. The tires they have on there, the Aventon tires, the Shimano, 8-speed gear set, the hydraulic brakes, everything works really well together. It's a really good seamless package. If you've watched the channel for any point in time, you know that I'm an avid bike rider, and I've always been a Trek rider. I have 3 other Trek bikes, a hybrid, a road bike, and a mountain bike. And when I was looking at an e-bike, I thought about going with Trek. But when I looked at it, the Trek version of this would have cost me more than twice the amount of money with less features. So I did a lot of research before I bought it, and the Aventon seemed like it made a lot of sense. And in the 500, this is probably the bike that made the most sense for me. There is a 300, which is a 300-watt battery. That tops out at about 20 miles an hour versus the 28 miles an hour this will top out at. And the 750 is a fat tire bike, which weighs about 25 pounds more than this. It doesn't have any more range or top speed, but it's a little bit, a little nicer over some of the hard bumps if you have a really rough city commute, or if you want to do some light off-road riding. That bike is great. It's a fat tire bike, but with the weight, you're probably not going to do any riding without assistance. So overall, it's an amazing bicycle. What I would tell you, there are a couple of demerits, and I'll hit on those really quickly for you. The biggest demerit being is that the battery life cycle, especially as it is through the display here, isn't incredibly accurate. So I'll give you a great example today. I rode my first 4 miles and it said I had used 10% of my battery life. And then in the next 4 miles, similar terrain, similar elevation, it said I had used another 20%. And then by the end of the ride, right, so 16 or 17 miles, I had used almost, like 65% of the battery life. So the consistency isn't there, and with the claimed range is 40 miles, top speed of 28 miles an hour. Now here is the reality. At where I live, and on this particular ride that I just did for the 17 miles, I had about 800 feet of elevation. And in that amount of elevation, like I said, I got around 35% battery life left. Now, if I were to go ride this bike at 35%, I would feel comfortable going no more than maybe 5 miles. Because once you get below like 20%, it really drains off very quickly. So that's my only major gripe. Like if you're not that familiar with the bike, you'll start to ride it and you'll see, oh, I got all this range, and then all of a sudden you look down and you're at 50% to battery life, and now you're getting a little nervous that you're going to get home or not. The other thing too is I've talked about this before, and I found it a little less so on like the second gear, but on this particular setup, it is 5 levels of assistance. Level 1 is almost non-existent. Level 2 is, you'll feel it, but it's not much of a push. Then when you hit in level 3 is like a light switch, and 3, 4, and 5 are significant. What is interesting though, on some really severe elevation, like even a level 5, you're not noticing that much assistance, and you're having to really gear down and put a lot of effort into it. So I would say after 2 years of ownership, over 1,000 miles, I can make a really educated guess. And the Aventon Pace 500 is still available. They've changed a couple things up. They've integrated the battery into the frame, so it looks a little bit more seamless, but the battery still is detachable. I have the newer version of the display because my display broke, and they were amazing, by the way, from a customer service standpoint of replacing it right away. So, like, overall, I would buy this bike in a second. If you're going to go out and you want to use it as a commuter bike, it's amazing. If you want to go out and just, go out and enjoy a beautiful day. Like today's 80 degrees on a Sunday. I just got done doing the yard work. I had done a bunch of errands this morning. I didn't want to do the road bike. I just wanted to go out and enjoy a 15-mile bike ride. I burned like 500 calories. I rode 15 miles, 16, 17 miles, whatever it was. Had a great time and enjoyed the scenery and just got to enjoy my bike ride. So can I recommend this bike to you? Absolutely. I would wholeheartedly. I think you'll enjoy it completely. Any of the Aventon bikes, I have a friend who has a 750 who absolutely loves it. They're great bicycles for the money. I would recommend it highly to anyone. So that's it, guys. Just a quick bonus review. Like I said, we're a little bit light on the channel. We're kind of pausing some of the fitness journey stuff, but we're hoping to get back into it. And I will tell you, just on a side note, I have ridden 4 of the last 5 days, a couple of days on the road bikes, 3 days, I think it's 5, maybe 5 of the last 6. So they did 2 days on road bikes, 3 days on the e-bike. So we're getting back out and getting some more miles in. We're trying. So I hope to talk to everybody soon. Have an amazing day, and go out and get a new bike if you want to get one. If you do get this one, you'll enjoy the hell out of it. Talk to you soon.